Hey everybody, it's your best friend Drew, and I've got some comics for you for my spinner rack that I know you'll love. I know you'll love them. I'm psychic that way. So, Justice League America. Um, well, this started with the relaunch of Justice League that came out in 1987, which was fantastic. I loved the lineup. I mean, Mr. Miracle on the team. But my hang up was the first few issues had some action that were pretty cool, and I liked it because the skill set of the different members made it very exciting. You had and Blue Beetle is flying ship that he calls the Bug, was their transport. They had Dr. Fate, which I don't get that because he's too powerful, but he left at issue 7, and they brought more people in, and after about a year, into the second year, it was still pretty good, but um, issue 17 had, in 18, had a fight between Lobo and Guy Gardner, which was pretty cool. But after that, everything was ha ha blah ha 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 blah blah blah, and it was okay for a while, and it was funny. It was pretty cool. But then, as time went on, they really stopped doing any action, pretty much, and it just became like a ha 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 blah ha ha and repeated jokes like the Oreo cookies for Martian Manhunter, another guy too powerful to be in a team. I mean, the guy can turn invisible. He can stretch his body. He's strong, almost as Superman. There's other stuff, telepathy, way too much a skill set. I mean, that's a whole team in one. I love this. It is a Dave Cockrum book, which I hadn't seen on like timeline wise, I hadn't seen his name on much. He did the Futurians for Red Circle Comics, which didn't work out that much. But Dan Jurgens, always doing some great layouts, layout for Dave Cockrum. The result is beautiful. And the other thing too, at this period in time, 1992, man, that was a great time for comics because there were so many comics coming out, but they were affordable. For $250, you're getting 60 pages, 68 pages. No. In some cases, 80 pages, like the 80-page Giants that DC brought back, and specials and stuff like that. There was a lot of shit too, of course, but comics were still pretty affordable at the time. They were like $1, and then they went up to $1.25 and stayed that way for a while. So you got Dan Jurgens designing. I guess he's doing layouts. Dan Mishkin, who wrote Princess of Gemworld. Dave Cockrum, Jose Marshall Jr., Clem Robbins, D'Angelo colorist, and Brian Augustin editor, who was my very first editor, and back when I started with issue 103. What's really cool is Cockrum is he's changed his style just for Eclipso. I mean, he's got that mushed up face that Eclipso has, so it's really well done. And that is not the standard Dave Cockrum, line work, face, brow, but he's adapting to the times, and I don't know why I hadn't seen more of him around this era. And of course, there's arguments going on, but that's okay. I really wish Superman movie had taken this costume verbatim. It is so badass with the big old boots and with the jacket that snaps over. Don't get it. So this is Bloodwind, who is she's a mysterious character, and there's Maxima and Metamorpho, always a great character. I kind of dug him in the Superman movie, but Superman movie was kind of a mess, like pacing wise, and also Superman got his ass kicked throughout the whole movie. Well, there's Wonder Woman hanging out with Superman. Really good stuff going on. It's like Dave Cockrum just rethought his approach to comics. So anyway, what I love about this is it's Blue Beetle's last stand. Not quite last, but don't know what got into Bruce Gordon, but even working alone, I can cobble together some basic solar guns in no time. And that's because Eclipso can't deal with solar radiation. I might even be able to remind people that just what I have to offer to this, meaning to the group, emergency lights coming on with someone. It sounds like someone. Rex, is that you? Ooh, love that face. Managed to get out of the way of the blast in time, but this could be trouble. Now bear in mind, this Blue Beetle has no enhanced strength. He has no powers, really. He's just a pretty good fighter, but he's dodging. I love that panel there. It's almost like Cockrum tapped into Ditko a little bit with this. And Eclipso's, ranting. And tries to get Eclipso, no luck. Goes to the offensive, reaching for the solar gun beetle. Lunge as fast as you can. You can't outrace a laser beam. So he just grabs some material. And what I like about it, he's the underdog. This is very much like the first Die Hard, which is, one of the greatest movies ever, action-wise. So he just stays one step ahead of Eclipso. And manages to slide a door between him, Eclipso, and he's filling with some stuff that he can take on with Eclipso. And a force field trapping me. Not for long. I don't think the auxiliary power is enough to hold him. And the field explodes. He's gone. Or else he's just lurking on the next corner. He accidentally hurts Metamorpho, but it's not really Metamorpho. So, it's more Maxima. Nothing says strength than a woman's bare midriff. Especially in the 90s. So, like, you're seeing a lot of action here. And that's something I was wanting for so long. I apologize for that. So Blue Beetle's like, gotta get out of here. Gotta make it to the bug. I can only dodge and leap and escape down elevator shafts for so long. And he still might be just steps ahead or right in front of you. I was afraid someone was going to say that. Yowza. What's with the hand blast? The Eclipse was not supposed to have powers like that. Gordon said, where did Gordon go off to anyway? So he goes into the pool area and there's some fog from the pool because it's heated. Love this. And the gymnasium. And that. I love that. Good Lord. That's so Ditko. So he's holding his own. I love it. I mean, he knows he's not in the same power class, but he's just, he got a solar gun. Really great story. But eventually Eclipso gets him. But I mean, we went through 10 pages of Blue Beetle, on the run and successfully fighting back to a point better than would be expected. So he puts some brakes on the bug, crashes it down. If your goal is to make a shambles of these headquarters, I commend your success. But in truth, you've only delayed the inevitable. All in how you look at it. Crater breath. Choose to back up. I figure every second I'm still breathing is another chance to putting you in the hot seat. I will brook no more of this. Oh, better hurry up. It's over. Blue Beetle. And turns on all the lights. What do you mean? Explain yourself. See, I tapped into the solar collectors that power my bug, and now they're hooked up to the headquarters main power stream. Which means that this entire complex will soon be bathed in solar-powered energy. And he takes off. And then Blue Beetle gets pranked. So really, really amazing stuff. Go Blue Beetle. He had his own series right after the Charlton Heroes were purchased by DC, and he was pretty action oriented. But this is like a great issue of Justice League that has Blue Beetle as a solo star there. Solo star. Now we jump cut to Robin Snyder's Revolver magazine. It's an anthology by Renegade Press, which Denny Lubert started after the marriage with Dave Sim dissolved. And this is a really good anthology. I'm not a big anthology person, and a lot of the comic book reading public aren't either. I mean, anthologies suffer because a lot of times you're like, oh, I want this one guy, but these two other guys, their own stories, they suck. Or it's like, or I'll wait for the trade paperback. But Dark Horse Presents was the only one that was a wild success. Started in 1986, and it just ended about 3 years ago. They went like 150 issues or so, and they had quality. I mean, they also had Concrete by Paul Chadwick, which was awesome. And even before Sin City and others, good stuff. So there's Ditko. And Star Glider. And it's written by Jack Harris, who is a really great DC writer. And he actually wrote the first miniseries for The Ray back in 1988 or 1999. But unfortunately, even though it led to an ongoing series, the editor decided he was going to write it. So kind of left Jack Harris in the cold, which is kind of, not cool. At least, allegedly, okay? This is really great stuff. And it's weird, for the black and white stuff, Ditko goes with soft lines, and then yet when he does stuff for Marvel or DC, it's really fat lines that are like a coloring book. I can't figure that out. So, is that a vet story? We go to Cookie. And this one here, by Rich Margopoulos and Tom Mandrake, letters Joe Kubert's school. Now the legendary Joe Kubert, he started the school, and he has a lot of successful graduates. This is Tom Mandrake, who went on to be fantastic. He did 3 years of, he did like the Spectre, and he did a lot of other stuff. I'm sure you've seen his name everywhere. In the Kubert school, a lot of people came out of there, like Bart Sears. I can't name them all, but there's a lot. So, reprint of an old cartoon. Now this is by, I gotta write this down. It's by William Dubé, I guess writing it in Vicatan, which is short for Vincenze Doria Catan Jr. He was a Filipino artist, and even without knowing that, I can tell it's a Filipino artist, because they have that same sense of rendering and storytelling, but it's like super badass. And also, they tend to overpower anybody they ink, but in some cases there's some shitty pencilers that need a goose. And Starlad. I'm not 100% sure the head's the right size, but I could be wrong. Children are hard to draw and get it right. So, it is so beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. There's Ms. Tree. I've always loved the design of the character. Now we go back to Starlad. And then get a naked woman, about credited. I especially like the wood grain. And here's a Paul Smith drawing. Pretty cool. And look at the lineup there. Pretty cool. Cool. But I didn't buy a lot of it because it's, what is this? How much is this? Yeah, it's $2. At the time, comics were 75 cents. And, you know, they were in color. And I visited this one comic shop that was kind of slow, and one of the guys who worked there, he was in a band. He was like in a thrash metal band, and I would come over and we would just bullshit for hours because the business wasn't doing that well, and he had racks and racks of comics. And while we bullshit, you know, he didn't say anything about me thumbing through the books. They weren't, back then, comics weren't bagged and boarded, the new ones anyway. So I would sit there and, you know, like when they say, hey kid, this isn't a library. Well, he let me use it as a library. So I found some good books that I liked that way. But, you know, if things go up in price nowadays, it's not practical. So, Ultraman, look at Lee Weeks on the cover. Man, oh man, the shows. Boy, is that beautiful. So, it's issue 4. I'll have to hunt down the other ones. It is Larry Akata. I guess he's one of the Ultraman writers. Ernie Colon, one of the most well-rounded artists. He did Richie Rich, and he could do cartoon and you know, straight stuff. Now this, because it's so thick and sloppy, I guarantee that was a 1-page splash that they decided to publish as a 2-page, so a lot of the finer detail got fat. And boy, oh boy. Yep, after coming home from school, Ultraman was on, and everybody, no, that's not Dale Gribble, but I mean, we all watched it, my friends. And even though, like, at the last minute, Hayata and Ultraman would be beaten to a pulp, and his little beep 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 monitor on his chest would be very low. He would defeat the monster at the last second. There's a photo from the show. I dig that. I'd love to get one of those. I'd love to get a statue of him, but it would cost a fortune. Plus, I have 0 room on my shelves for that kind of stuff. So, really nice stuff. Really nice stuff. Terrific fun. Okay. Whoops. Oh, not mint anymore. John Sable freelance from IDW Comics around 2006. The paper is just thick as could be. It's amazing. John Sable freelance was big in the 80s. He had 50 issues that Mike Grell, he illustrated till 43, and then Judith Hunt did the rest, and then it got relaunched with Marv Wolfman and Bill Jaska, and I didn't pick that up. It just didn't seem that interesting. Look at that logo. Wow. Damn, that's a fantastic logo. So, in case you don't know, he's a mercenary, but he disguised himself as B.B. Flem, which was a name he came up with to write children's books, because his wife and his kids were killed by poachers in Africa, and he used to tell kids these stories of, why did my voice go up like that? Stories about these leprechauns that live in Central Park, and they loved it. And when he came back from Africa, he wanted to do stories about his mercenary days, and his agent, an agent, told him that the children's books were huge. You said there was no market for men's action, but there is for children's stories. The bedtime stories your lead character tells his children. My kid loved those stories. What better way to celebrate than bring joy to other children? I love this art. I wonder how much of it is pen ink and how much of it is scanned pencil. Well, there's nothing naughty showing there, but it's very suggestive and it looks cool. And this is like a Douglas Fairbanks kind of retired Hollywood adventurer, but you have to remember this came out in the 80s, so this is like a relaunch. And yeah, that's where his family was wiped out. God, Grell still has it. Now, this woman, her name is Mike, and M-Y-K-E, and she's in love with him, but she doesn't like his adventurer spirit because she just doesn't want him coming back, in a body bag. So she's the illustrator of his books, of his children's books. And wow, look at that. Love the hair, love everything going on. And there's no AI stuff going on. There's no swiping from buildings and photos. I mean, might use his own photo reference. You always find people you can photo ref if they're around. That helps a lot. Love that. And the coloring is just sober. It's not challenging you to look elsewhere. The important stuff is here. A chandelier. Ooh. I hate inking that kind of stuff. And here is the MacGuffin diamond. A little fun there because the word MacGuffin was a word created by Alfred Hitchcock, meaning that's something that everybody wants, but it's not. It's an item that everybody wants to get, even though it's not the main story. The story revolves around getting the MacGuffin, much like I'm going to bring Maltese Falcon. So really good. I didn't know this came out. Beautiful, beautiful. And then we get to Action Comics, which for a while was a team-up book when it got revived. And I kind of liked it. I wish it had stayed that way. But then later on in the years with a little triangle that would tell you what order to read the books, I enjoyed that greatly. So, Etrigan, the demon, he's probably, New Gods are cool. I was never into Commandy, but the demon, I totally dig. I really liked him. Because he's just scary as shit. So this woman goes to a curio shop and she buys this little thing. And it jabs her. I love that image. Inked by Dick Giordano, one of the greatest inkers of all time. He worked with Neil Adams. He's been an editor. He's been an editor-in-chief. The pencil's great as well. So they get stabbed by these mechanical stuff. But Jason Blood, our hero, gets away. Change of form of man, release the might from fleshy mire, boil in blood in heat of fire. Gone the form of man, rise a demon, Etrigan. I love that phrase. See, that's what I was talking about. I saw this and I was like, oh my God, they're going to kick so much ass in their own way. But, he only lasted 6 issues and, he did too. And Dr. Light never got to do anything. She wasn't even in costume. She turned him down. So I was like, why? Wow. The only thing, like, when I would ink buildings like this, that would be the first thing I do in the morning. When I'm inking, I like to warm up on stuff you have to do straight edges on instead of going right for the brush or the quill. And You must not harm the towers. That cape is just wonderful. Oh yeah, here's Gene Colan and Steve Mitchell did a couple of years on the Spectre, and then it came back with Tom Mandrake and John Ostrander, I think. So, some good old burn action. He goes, stay your hand, look behind you. Oh my God, that's blood, human blood. And it turns out that these buildings are transmogrified people. And Innocence Etrigan was struggling to protect. Those big old Kirby mitts. So, Superman goes back in time. It's way too much to elaborate on, but man, Giordano inking. Wonderful combination. Well, the original from centuries ago, there was a Ascendant of Jason Blood, and he jumps free from Superman's grasp, and he says the right words that get him to turn into the demon. And the kid turns into a Kirby pastiche character, Morgan Le Fay, who's been used in Marvel and DC several times throughout the years. So, really, really great stuff. I don't know if they reprinted like the Soul, just the Action Comics that have all the team-ups or not. But that's it, everybody. Hope you like it. Tell me what you think. Did you buy these off the rack? Did you know this even existed? Did you buy that? Or what do you think about it? There you go. Revolver. And Justice League with our Superstar Blue Beetle. Alright, everybody, tell me what you think. Add whatever thoughts you have. If you like these books, if you hate them, add any comments. Please leave comments. I never, ever delete comments, even if they're negative. And just let me know your thoughts. Everybody, I know there's a lot of people who watch, but they don't comment. And I would love that. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, so that way you get notifications that I have a new video up. All right, everybody. Everybody have a great day.